President Trump signed an executive order Thursday that temporarily lifts tariffs imposed on some Canadian and Mexican goods. And this comes amid heavy criticism from Canadian leadership over President Trump's tariff policies. CBS News' Ed O'Keefe sat down with one of those critics, Ontario Premier Doug Ford.
He stabbed us. That's it. That's the word. I hate to use it, but that's exactly what happened. You know, there's a lot of people, and in the U.S. as well, by the way, not and Canada, they feel like he let them down.
CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins us now from a curling club in Toronto. And Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, but a premier is kind of like a governor, and Ontario is so significant because it is the most populated province. You're nodding, so I'm correct. So Canadian Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc says Canada is now pausing some of its retaliatory tariffs, not all, after this other announcement from President Trump on his pause. How is Ford responding?
He's one of those keeping tariffs in place. He tells us that unless this tariff war ends completely by Monday, he's going to hike electricity rates in Minnesota, Michigan, and New York with a 25% tariff. Ontario exports electricity to those three states. Many Canadian provinces do through hydropower or just standard electricity. And he's called the governors of those three states and said, sorry, you're going to get a 25% tariff starting on Monday. And if you have a problem with that, don't call me. Call Donald Trump, call your governors, call your members of Congress to complain, because all of this is unnecessary and can be completely called off by the president.
What else stood out to you during your conversations with Ford and with people in Toronto?
Yeah, we're here at the Royal Canadian Curling Club. The league is switching games here in the next few minutes, so that's why you hear the commotion. And look, you talk to just about every Canadian we have in the last few days. They say, look, it's nothing personal with the American people. It has everything to do with American policy and the American president who started this. And they like to remind us, because this is something maybe many Americans don't appreciate or understand, and that's fine, because it speaks to the seamless nature of the cooperation between these two countries, that there's all sorts of things that come from up here down to the United States that are going to be affected and are going to see the cost increase in the coming weeks and months if this kicks off, especially as the weather gets better. Oil and gas from Alberta, lumber from British Columbia, fertilizer from Saskatchewan, steel that's manufactured here in Ontario, produce from across the country like tomatoes and blueberries and lettuce, and yes, even maple syrup. The cost of all that will go up if those tariffs ever do kick in.
I had interviewed somebody earlier in the week who said, look, Canadians aren't going to want a vacation in the U.S. anymore. And he also said it takes a lot for us to boo your national anthem. And we booed recently in the hockey finals. I mean, they're saying it's not personal, but are you getting a sense that there is some resentment there?
Resentment, maybe, and I think just a real sense of shock and confusion, especially about what it is President Trump actually wants Canada to do definitively by early April to call this off entirely. We talked to Ontario officials this afternoon. They said, we don't know what it is he wants. All right, we've boosted security at the border to catch fentanyl and cocaine, but we notice a lot of illegal guns and drugs coming from the United States north into Canada. So Premier Ford suggested maybe the Americans have to do a little more on the northern border to stop things from getting in. Overall, though, at least here in Ontario, with that threatened electricity tariff, they say it's going forward because, in the words of one official, quote, a reprieve means nothing.
Ed O'Keefe, enjoy the game, the match. What is it called? I know nothing about curling.
I'm going to find out and let you know.
Okay, all right. An assignment. Ed O'Keefe, thank you.